Nice. Put it in salad.
Great.
I'm here with Andrew on my left and Ryan on my right at the free organic food giveaway at the park here in downtown Toronto. You're part of the Zeitgeist-Toronto movement. So let's start with you, Andrew. What motivated you to give all this free organic food away? And it's about 4,000 pounds, I heard?
Yeah, this is 4,000 pounds out of 15,000 that we're giving away this year. And learning about a resource-based economy motivated me to, as an organic farmer, to show people that we can, everybody deserves to eat this way. And that spurred on this project, and with the help of lots of volunteers.
Okay, so this is 4,000 out of 15,000 that you give away each year?
This year, yes.
This year. So where do the other, 11,000 go to?
Yeah, we work with some food banks and the Salvation Army in Barrie. That's near where the farm is. As well as the Salvation Army in Midlands and out of the cold programs in the area.
So why decide to make a contribution to the Zeitgeist movement or co-brand with them?
Definitely, this is wanting to draw some attention to this very noble cause of how to show people how we can feed the world this way with organic agriculture.
Okay, let's go to you, Ryan. How can we feed the world this way? How are you setting an example? Why?
It's just interesting, and if you go out, we were on our way to the farm on Saturday, and we see all this empty farmland that's actually not being used at all. And if you think about that, and all the food that we could be producing on that land, Canada is such a country that has so much land that we're not using, that we could be producing organic food, not only in the farmland, but also in the city. We have rooftops in the city that aren't being used properly. We have empty office space even that could be grown hydroponic indoor agriculture where we can produce any kind of food we want all year round. And so if you think about all these opportunities that we have to grow food, we really shouldn't have to charge for food. I mean, nobody...
I understand everything up until then, but why shouldn't we charge food?
Well, you have to think about it this way. Today, we don't really pay for air because air is so abundant in the world that it would be ridiculous to ask anybody to pay for it.
Actually, it's a necessity for your life.
And it's a necessity of life. If you think about the necessities of life as in food, water, and air...
Water right now is very controversial.
Water is very controversial. There's a lot of people in the world who don't get fresh water to drink, clean water to drink. But if you think about 70% of the planet is actually water, we have the technology with reverse osmosis, with desalination plants, and renewable energy that can actually clean all that water for everybody. But the problem is that those people who need that water most don't have any money to pay for it. And the infrastructure in place in their countries that simply doesn't exist, and there's no profit motive to supply them with that. So if we think about a world without money, and what we can actually do with the technologies that we already know, and the willpower of so many people, I mean, there's so many people unemployed today that could be working on helping bring these kinds of things for free to people. And as our event here is a demonstration, we had over probably 30, 40 volunteers here today. Nobody was getting paid, and they all love helping out the public and giving away free food, which is what the Zeitgeist movement is really all about.
Can you tell me more, how can we feed the planet without people paying for it? How do we get people engaged in this? What's your vision? What's a smaller step?
A smaller step is to just take that first step of learning about how we can change our economy, transition from an economy that uses money. Now, we've always used money. It's very tough to tell people we can move off of a barter, trade, or money system and move into something called a resource-based economy where there isn't any need for money. And if we think about the resources that we need to live, and then we make a plan for how we're going to allocate the resources that we don't need but we want to use, such as cars, transportation, seeing the world, communicating with people, access to entertainment, media, these kinds of things can be made very abundant. If you look at cities, there's already transitionary processes along this line of thinking. If you look at shared cars in Toronto, people don't need to own the car, they just need to access the car whenever they need it. The same goes for bicycles. You don't need to own that in Montreal. They have wonderful bike lanes and a program where you could share those bikes. We think about that as applied to everything. Video cameras, musical instruments. Libraries already exist for books. Of course, we can do them digitally for free. And we can provide that everywhere. There's such an availability of these resources, but when you put a patent on it, when you put a price tag on it, it limits people's access, and we feel that is actually a hindrance to moving forward and evolving as a humanity together in a cooperative way.
If I can add to that too, for how to feed the world this way as well, one of the first steps is to have enough people support in this direction and choose to make food, have equal access to nutritious food. Taking off the profit motive in the food economy, will mean we would change the way food is grown. Right now we have Monsanto being so powerful because of how they're being rewarded for what they're doing. They're being rewarded for polluting the environment, and it is for to use the least amount of labor to grow the most amount of food. It's working. They're offsetting the costs on the environment and people with poisonous food. So if we choose to feed the world with organic agriculture, aeroponics, hydroponics, we would make the resources available to do it. We would have access to the equipment we need, the resources, the seed, and notice how we're not talking about labor. We welcome mechanization. We're harvesting carrots by hand, and 30 people harvested 5,000 pounds in about 5 hours. We were driving down through the marsh on the way here in the Holland Marsh. They have this beautiful machine that harvests carrots at a rate of at least, I'd say 10,000 pounds an hour, with one guy driving it. Unfortunately now, it's run on diesel, it's polluting. The way they grow the carrots, they poison the soil, they put chemicals on the food. We can shift that to grow it with our organic methods, with the techniques that we know, mechanized, and we can reduce the necessary amount of labor. We welcome labor. We welcome people that want to grow food this way, but we can free ourselves to help create the mechanization and to help use the science that we can all benefit from, and to free us from labor of picking carrots for 100 hours.
Okay, so if someone wants to partake in this labor of love, what's your website, Andrew?
Backtobasicscanada.com. You can learn about the project that we've been doing. We're trying to work in this monetary system to create. We have to work within it, unfortunately, to try to change it. We're trying to develop a business model, a not-for-profit model of 20% of all of our sales of food we give away as food value. So this is the first year of testing it. This year we actually have given away 50% of what we've sold in food value, right off the top. And we definitely welcome the help of donations to help make this happen. Next step is getting some urban gardens going. We want to bring the agriculture to the cities where there's lots more people to help. We don't have to drive up to the farm. We're going to bring it here and then give as much away to food banks and to the public as possible.
Okay. Ryan, what were you doing before this? First of all, let's plug in your website.
Okay, website that you go to globally would be www.thezeitgeistmovement.com. Here in Toronto, you would visit Zeitgeist-toronto.com. And you can find, you can subscribe to our mailing list. We'll tell you about future events where we do things like this, give away free food. But also, to get yourself informed, you can start with that website and you can start watching Zeitgeist Addendum, which is a film that is available for free online. We're giving it away here today, but of course online you could access that and see it for free. Yeah.
Okay, so Andrew, you've been a farmer all your life, correct?
No.
No. Oh.
3 years.
3 years.
I grew up about 5 blocks from here.
Wow, what were you doing here?
I was going to school. I grew up. This was when I was from grade 1 until 7. I grew up in Toronto. My family moved to Barrie, to the burbs, and my dad commuted. And grew up no farming in my family at all. Maybe a couple hundred years ago. And then just through learning about the food issues and all the risks to our food system, and of course the value of buying organic food, I was able to, well, it's a long story about the path to get here, but I saw the value in growing food organically.
You've been doing this for about 3 years then?
Yeah, this is my 3rd year farming.
Wow. Okay, Ryan, what were you doing before?
I'm a chartered accountant here in Canada, which is a bit contradictory, say, to a world with no money. I'm trying to get myself out of a job in the long run.
So how does this business model look, being an accountant that you were speaking about?
Well, his business model, I mean, that's his project that he's working on. He is a member of the Zeitgeist movement internationally and within our Toronto chapter. We have a lot of members that have a lot of different diverse backgrounds. We welcome everybody, and it's